Brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Spam those W's, baby. There was never a doubt. There was never, and I mean never. Even when Jock Peterson ripped that bad boy to right, I knew we were winning this ball game. Cue the sarcasm and cue those W's as you guys spam them in the live chat right now. How you doing, everybody? What, you thought the Mets wouldn't have themselves a cardiac end to a game even when they're up with 10 runs? No, of course not. Enter the New York Metropolitans. Nothing comes easy, but what did come today was an offense in which you might as well say Oprah Winfrey was there. You get a hit, you get a hit, you get a hit, you get a run, you get a run, you get a run, you get a run. How you doing, everybody? It's your boy Wardy, and we're back at it with our latest Metropolitan postgame segment as the Mets take Game 2 of a 4-game set against the Arizona Diamondbacks in a nail-biting fashion by a final score of 10-9. In tonight's show, we'll get into everything that you guys and gals need to know, our biggest takeaways from tonight's matchup, what we liked, maybe what we didn't like, especially on the offensive end. There was a lot to like, and I mean a lot. We are going to break it all down. Then from there, folks, after hearing from our amazing sponsors at Sorare MLB, the best MLB fantasy game out there, click the link down below today to check them out and sign up today for free. Same applies with our great friends, the best sports book in the game, that being BetUS. Check them out as well. Click the link down below for 125% bonus with your first 3 deposits. Then we're going to get to your live callers. Yes, it is a Friday night, late night here on the WardyNYM postgame show. I want to hear from you, Mets fans. I want y'all to call in like we did yesterday. We did over 20 minutes of live callers yesterday. It was an absolute blast. We will be taking your live calls before we wrap up the show once again today. I want to hear your reactions to tonight's victory and about the Mets as a whole. Spam those W's, everybody. Thank you all so much for chiming in. And Alonso was baiting his helmet in the dugout because he was pissed off he didn't get a hit against Monty in that turn at bat when he was quite literally batting practice for everyone else in this Mets line for the most part. A lot to get into, a lot to break down, and a lot of key updates from all the major news on the roster that we saw earlier today. And oh yeah, tomorrow Darryl Strawberry gets his number retired, Mr. Number 18. So again, a lot to get into. Very excited, but let's hear the official WardyNYM post-game jingle. Shout out to my man Greg and Jordan, as always, for the jingle. Jordan even called into the show yesterday, which was really cool to see. Guys, so much to break down in what was a whirlwind, a nail-biter, a sweater, a heater of a ball game where the Metropolitans now are just a measly 9 games below 500. Yes, I know that's still not great whatsoever, but hey, I'd much rather win ball games than lose ball games, and that is exactly what the Mets have done. For the first time in a month, the Mets have won back-to-back games. Yes, the bar is that low, folks, so we got to climb ourselves out of this hole we dug ourselves in, and hopefully, again, this little winning heater the Mets have been on continues to a series victory tomorrow with Darryl's big day this Saturday. Yoshima, thank you so much for the $2 holla. Many heart attack, but got the W, so we good. Absolutely, Yoshima. Thank you so much for the donation, my friend. Happy to have you in here. Harrison, how you doing? The link was not posted. I will make the link available for everybody to call into the show once it is time to take live callers, everybody. That, again, will only be made available here on YouTube. So if you guys are watching live on Twitter, thank you so much for being here. Hit that like, that follow button, that retweet button. But know that I will only be interacting with our live viewers here on YouTube as we always do. Brandon, thank you so much for the $5 holla. Brandon says, hard for me to be positive about this team when they are 9 games under. Any advice? This Mets Rangers fan is going through it. I'm with you on that one, Brandon. Still pissed off about yesterday. The only enjoyment I had from that loss, if there was anything to take away, was that my 2-leg parlay. Shout out to our amazing sponsor at BetUS for the, again, for using that as my sports book. Hammer Dallas Mavericks at plus 4.5 on the spread. Easy hit, literally free money because the Mavs were always winning yesterday. And the Rangers scoring that final goal in less than a minute made it a 1 goal deficit and defeat. Their puck line was +1.5. Your boy won 153 by depositing what I think it was 50 or so. So not too shabby. We'll take those winnings. But I will say this. If there are any positives for a pessimistic Mets fan, which I think is the majority of us right now, it's that since they have done that team meeting, Francisco Lindor has continued to tear the cover off the ball. He's unbelievably hot right now. The entire team now is rallying. And JD Martinez, again, yesterday had a fantastic quote that he shared from the day prior when they did the team meeting, and the quote was as follows that I want to share with you all, is I really think that this has not only resonated well with this core group, but you're kind of getting the sense that they are getting themselves out of this rut by taking things day by day. This was a bullpen game for the Mets after the 5th inning because Luis Severino unfortunately did not have his best stuff when he's been otherwise dominant at home especially, but that didn't change the fact that the Mets were going to get offense early and often, and that would be what would carry them. But this quote stands out to me, and that's why I want to preface this with all of you, everybody. And I quote from JD Martinez. I said in the meeting, no one thinks we're going to win 100 games this year. You can ask everybody. We have no pressure on us. The pressure's on everyone else right now. Let them have it. If we lose, we lose. They already think we're the worst in baseball. So basically what he's saying is he already knows the entire league views the Mets as pond scum, below pond scum, literally a laughing stock. So with the lack of pressure, prove them wrong, right? Exactly is what this is happening now. I don't even know what kind of wordplay that was. That was horrendous. What I'm trying to say is the Mets are actually doing what JDM was preaching there. And that has been 2 straight games of doing exactly that. Again, close ball games. And he emphasized how while we've had a terrible month of May, look at the games. Look at them. The vast majority of them, the Mets have been in every single game, but have faltered because they haven't had the clutch gene. Now we're seeing over the past 24 to 48 hours, they do have that. So something very interesting, something that we will take as a positive. David West in the chat says, Wardy, any relievers, closers, and AAA you to consider replacing Otto, Garrett, and Diekman? Well, Reed Garrett, we'll get into Reed Garrett again. The big issue, simply put, with Reed Garrett, folks, he was thriving so early this season with the sinker and the sweeper. Batters simply did not know how to adjust to his sinker. The problem, batters have now adjusted to his sinker, so Reed has deferred to his four-seam fastball more often, and that's why Reed Garrett has been a career minor league player, because his fastball is flat and it gets eaten up for breakfast by the opposing batters. That's what happened today when unfortunately he gave up the bombs that we saw there to Jock Peterson, in which, guys, I'm not trying to brag because I'm not happy about this, but I told you all in our pregame coverage yesterday that Jock Peterson is at minimum hitting one a home run at Citi Field in this series. He has beaten up the Mets every single time he has faced them, no matter if it goes back to his time with the Dodgers, his little stint with the Angels. If the Mets even matched up against him there, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he hit when that happened. With the Atlanta Braves when he won it all, Mr. Pearls in 2021. Then, of course, with the San Francisco Giants, ate up Tyler McGill, especially for breakfast and others. And then you saw there, most recently now with the Arizona Diamondbacks, does the same exact thing. It doesn't matter where Jock Peterson goes, he will always be a Mets killer. But thankfully, even then, even when the bats came to play late for the Diamondbacks, Reed Garrett was able to get that final strikeout on Lourdes Gurriel to win this one. And we're going to break down the game inning by inning as we always do. All the highlights are there for you guys. Thank you so much for the donations. I will get to that all in a second. Smash that like and subscribe button as y'all first chime in live on a replay. Really does mean a lot. Did I see your tweet, Daniel? I don't know what it was regarding, my man, so probably not. Enlighten me in the chat, and thank you so much in advance for doing so. Gonna minimize this, guys, so now when I hop to talk about the pitching stats that we will get into shortly. Sevy, again, a far from dominant outing today, but that's okay because the Mets still won in the end. Nunez was solid again since being called back up. The offense was fantastic again. You get ahead. You get ahead. You get ahead. Star-studded Starling Marte, baby. That's why he's on the thumbnail. And the only reason why I don't have JDM on the thumbnail is because Mark Vientos' first game without pressure, without someone breathing down his neck for competing at the hot quarter, he has himself a 3-hit game. He deserves to be on the thumb, especially because JD was yesterday, everybody. Oh, that is the wrong slide. Again, Shadows So Rare MLB. We will get into them a little bit later here in the show, folks, as always. But to hop back into this one, let me answer some comments you got out for me, and then we will break down the game inning by inning. Caboose18 with the $5 haul says, it wasn't pretty, but it's a win, and I'll take a win. They got to start somewhere. 100%, brother. Thank you so much for that donation. Means a lot. See, my man Dave Kaplan's great member of 19 months. Bullpen is now a problem, especially Reed Gary. Yep, the bullpen is a problem. Losing Jorge Lopez is honestly a problem. Losing the kind of arms that we've lost in Brooks Raley, especially, and others, is a problem. The good news, I do think the Mets have enough internal options to keep them afloat and keep them okay for the time being, including guys that, again, who looked fantastic yesterday in Danny Young. The Mets have other relief options there in the minor leagues. Shintaro Fujinami, who's electric but can't control anything to save his life, he's still going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, still rehabbing with his shoulder injury, so a guy that we can look at down the road later in the season, if anything. But there are options in AAA that have been effective, and I think will continue to do so, because that is part of the David Stearns mantra. I'm honestly not overwhelmingly concerned with the bullpen currently, but once we have more cause for concern where they are consistently blowing games for the Mets outside of Edwin Diaz, because the reason why that isn't happening is because Edwin himself is not currently playing for the Mets. He's on the injury list, right? So we'll see what happens on the bullpen front, but they are fair questions, and we'll talk more about the pen and the way it's been struggling lately here in the show. AZ with the $5 haul also says, the Mets made me sweat, but didn't make me want to rip my hair out. Good W. Yes, we gladly take that, AZ. Thank you for the donation, my man. Stoney, happy to have you in here. Pete, frustrated, but he hit. Yeah, Pete was pissed today, and I love that. I love seeing the emotion, and then when you get a big hit after. Even in a win, this team is disgraceful. My man, Priest on the plane, took the time to chime in and called in yesterday. Love you, Priest. Happy to have you in here, no matter how much you love or hate the team right now. Even in when they almost lose, this game shouldn't have been close. You're a clown. If this win gives you hope, they blew this game. Priest in defense, if the Mets win this series tomorrow, I don't want to hear shit. Because you were telling me that I was smoking that good stuff, that real good stuff, if the Mets win the series, and for me thinking that way. I'm putting my hand, I'm slamming it on the table. The Mets are winning this series. I'm calling it right now. The Mets are going to win at least 3 or 4 in the DBacks series, and if they don't, then call me the schmuck that I am. Won't surprise me, won't shock me, but I'm going to tell you right now, the Mets are winning this series. I don't have an overwhelming sense of confidence tomorrow, because Mets on Saturday games have been putrid a lot this season, so again, we'll see what happens. Even on a retirement day, I'm not overwhelmingly confident, but I do think the Mets win 3 out of 4. I'm knocking on wood, everybody. I normally don't go out of my way to make these remarks, but you know what? I'm going to do it now. Why the hell not? Again, why not us, baby? That's all I can say right now. Knocking on wood. See, I'm not going to say 4 for 4. I think that's crazy. But you know what I don't think's crazy? And you know what makes me really happy? Priest on the plane, you know this very well because you called in yesterday and he said how Tomas Nido is going to get sent down when Alvarez returns. And I said, if anything, you're the one smoking that good because I'm telling you right now, if Omar Narvaez is not DFA'd when Alvarez returns from injury, I'm going to go on a ridiculous rant talking about how that's the most idiotic decision. I do not give a rat's ass that he's making $8 million this year, nor does Steve Cohen. And you want to know why I know that? Because the Mets DFA'd Omar Narvaez today. After a sub 400 OPS, a 12 WRC plus, quite literally one of the worst players in all Major League Baseball. Just for reference, everybody, WRC plus, OPS plus, what do these terms mean, you might wonder? It basically just explains the average batter in baseball. So if you sit at 100, that is average. If you're Mark Vientos entering today's game at a 171 WRC plus, that means you're 71% better than the average batter in baseball. Omar Narvaez sat at 12 when he was DFA'd by the Mets today. David Stearns is a dog. I love how cutthroat he has been with his decisions. And Kristen Scott was also sent down. But don't worry, everybody. Scott will be back right after the London series. The Mets know that they have him on an innings limit. 1, 2, don't want to utilize a 6-man rotation when they don't need to for the London trip against the Phillies. And 3, they want to make sure that they have fresh arms in this bullpen especially. So if you don't need Scott, might as well have him down until you return from your London trip. I know he would have loved to be there, obviously. But, you know, some things are more important when it comes to roster configuration. And speaking of roster configuration, Brett Beatty has in fact been sent down by the Mets. Jose Iglesias was called up today, and Jose Iglesias did exactly what I've been telling each and every one of you for quite a while now. I hope you guys have been listening. What did I tell you going back to spring training? Jose Iglesias played great in spring, but he is a subpar defender. He's below league average, especially over his last couple years when he's had stints in the bigs. To anyone that thinks that Jose Iglesias is going to come in and be anything more than just just a short-term filler of a utility option for a guy like Luis Angel Acuna, in which he will be called up this season. The Mets have a close eye on him. They're pretty much just waiting when they're going to be able to cut ties with Jeff McNeil, and then Acuna, again, it's going to be his job to hopefully lose for the time being, unless a guy like Jet Williams has something to say about that once he returns from injury, as he had another cortisone shot trying to avoid surgery there in the minor leagues. And speaking of the minor leagues, I know I'm going on a lot right now, but it's all important news right now, folks. Speaking of the minor leagues, sadly, the opposing catcher today against the Mets in AAA Syracuse, unfortunately, on the follow-through of a swing that I believe got hit in the back of the head and had to be taken out of the game and was rushed to the hospital via ambulance. So hopefully he is not only stable, but is going to be okay. My prayers and everything is going to him and his family through this very unfortunate and terrible time right now. So sad to see that. On a completely separate note, I truly hope that player is going to be fine. And also for the guy that accidentally hit him, that he's okay too. Because, you know, the same way, I know it's to a much higher degree, but the DeMar Hamlin situation, right? And you think about, you know, how T. Higgins went about that. That's a lot. That is a lot that you were going through as a player, right? So no matter if you're the one not only on the receiving end of the injury, but the one that causes the injury unintentionally of anything of severity is a big deal. So I'm thinking about them both right now. I truly hope that both of them are okay and will be okay. Again, and not Rip, I do not believe he's not gone that far. Again, God forbid. But again, just happy to hear that thankfully, you know, it seems like he's in that hospital right now, and hopefully things are already at its worst and things will be getting better from there. I don't have any other further updates on the time. I saw Michael Mayer of Metsmerize initially tweet about that earlier today. Looked it up. That is in fact true. How you doing, Brooklyn Vinny? Happy to have you in here, my man. Let's see. Peter with the $2 holla says, SRF couldn't control his pitches. No, he couldn't. SRF again had himself a perfectly fine 7th inning and, a perfectly fine 8th inning and a perfectly terrible 9th inning. The Amazing Vintage Show, my man, happy to have you in here. Shout out to the Amazing Vintage Show, great friend of mine. Hope you were doing fantastic, brother. Hope all is great on your front. Final remarks I will share before we get into breaking down the ball game, everybody, is one thing, and it is Brett Beatty. I know Beatty has struggled mightily at the MLB level, 88 WRC plus this season. Mark Vientos, again, is just proving why he needs to be the Mets' everyday third baseman for the foreseeable future. Even if his defense isn't Brett Beatty Gold Glove caliber, in which Beatty is quite literally a really nice above-average defender now with the way he's been flashing leather, offense is what's going to carry this Mets team, and as long as Vientos isn't a glaring hole defensively at third base the way J.D. Davis was throughout his entire tenure here at the hot corner in Flushing, I do have a lot of faith now in Mark Vientos. And I did say heading into the season, everybody, my predictions, I did predict that Mark Vientos would be the breakout player between himself and Brett Beatty in their offensive production. Not that I don't want to see Beatty succeed, but Beatty, the holes in his offensive game are to a greater magnitude when Vientos has showcased the power immediately when being called upon, and we just continue to see him be productive, even if, again, he isn't going gap to gap or hitting home runs. 3 hits today, we will gladly take that. A couple RBIs. How can you not love Marky V in the production that he has had right now? Chi-Man Choi has been released. That's fine. That's more news. Love Chi-Man Choi. Loved him in spring training. Great story, but he wasn't doing anything at the AAA level. And is probably like, you know what? It's okay. We can part ways now. Mets release Chi-Man Choi. No worries there. Hope all is well. Stearns is the answer. I agree with you, Vinny. I do. I love me some David Stearns. I think he's going to continue to put this team in the right direction, even if they completely blow it up this year. I want his hands to be on absolutely everything. Wardy, what the tweet was Jock Pearson home run. Thank you for the free $43. You're welcome, Daniel. All I'll say, Daniel, is if you didn't, please make sure you're placing these bets with our great friends at BetUS for all your sports betting needs. Shout out to BetUS, you absolute beauties. But all right, enough of the initial reactions. Let's deep dive this ball game. Final thing I will say, though, before we deep dive it, because we just talked about the beauties, let's get into briefly, everybody, why you guys and gals, if you haven't already, need to check out the best sports book out there. Again, I'm not telling you to tail all my picks, but I am telling you to listen up a little bit. We're back on a heater. We're looking great. 2-leg parlay hammered yesterday. Today as well, my brother, mind you, my brother is polar opposite in his betting luck between himself and I. And I tell him he needs to defer to me before placing his bets. The schmuck had Timberwolves money line in one of his parlays yesterday. That's how you knew he wasn't listening or paying attention. But today, I give him credit. He hammered a 3-leg parlay with our great friends at BetUS. And what did he hammer exactly, guys? He hammered the Mets. He hammered the Phillies, and he hammered, actually, let me double check the final one because I don't want to be wrong here. I hope he's watching this right now too, so he can have a, the nice smile on his face. And last but not least, the last one he did hammer is, where is it? Down here is the Guardians, and the Guardians won 7-1. That's the first bet that my brother has won in a minute. I'm very happy he did, and it's all because of our great friends at BetUS that have you covered with all your sports betting needs. And as you guys and gals can see here, as we take a look at the slates here for tomorrow as well, thank you so much, Vinny. Sounds great, my man. Have a great one. God bless. As we take a look quickly at the MLB slates here with our great friends at BetUS, what I do just want to emphasize with you all is that heading into today's slate, I myself had a 3-pick parlay. Of course, this thing is going to go at a snail's pace. Not that the site's anything wrong, it's just because my computer is absolutely funky right now, which I do not appreciate. Today, I did hammer a 2 to 3 leg parlay myself, and it consisted of, I had the Mariners against the Angels. The Mariners fired their bench boss today, and another guy, they're up 3-0 in the second right now. I also hammered there the Phillies and Cardinals. Phillies won 4-2, and my last pick was the Orioles and the Rays, and the Orioles won 3-1, guys. We are on yet another heater with our picks, and even though that this thing is not loading on me, again, guys, make sure you check out our great friends at BetUS. This is where you can get hooked up with the best lines imaginable, everybody, and we'll hop back into this one a little bit later. But again, if you haven't already, check them out today. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Right out the buzzer, baby. You'll love to see that. Again, you could do your live betting as well with BetUS right now, folks. And I'm telling you, sprinkle some dollars on the Seattle Mariners right now on the live odds. Loving that at the moment. Again, especially at the -4.5 or +4.5 there. You also got, again, other games, the Dodgers, the Rockies had just begun. But as we take a look at tomorrow's slate, I don't know why I'm getting a FaceTime at the wrong time. Who is that? Okay, shout out to you, Borda. Borda, I love you. You know who you are. Hogwatch, again, best Padres YouTuber out there. He doesn't know that I'm live right now, and that's okay. But as we take a look at tomorrow's slate, I love the O's. I love doubling up on my Baltimore Orioles. I know the Rays can be pesky, but I love my O's. Big matchup, too, with the Red Sox Tigers. Too tight to take, in my opinion. So we're going to look further here. Again, Braves -310. Not loving those odds. Too favorable there. Kansas City Royals and Padres is a toss-up. Big toss-up. I'm actually going to go with a 2-leg parlay because speaking of the Padres, let's take the Royals +1.5, which means that they, again, need to win or lose by no more than 1.5 runs tomorrow. We are going to parlay them with the, we're going to go with the O's again, and this thing will load on me. Again, this is my fault. This is not the site's fault. Again, my computer crashed on me right before we started the live show today. So just to break that down for you all, quite literally 2 seconds before I was about to go live, was had a complete crash for whatever reason, and one of my main files I use for my thumbnails completely crashed as well. Thank goodness I have a backup, or I was going to lose my mind, because that's, 2 years of work right there. Just down the drain. That's why you say backups, folks. Either way, check it out with our great friends as always. That'll be the 2-leg parlay that I'm hammering tomorrow. And guys, telling you right now, if you get in on BetUS, we will be starting a big giveaway on the channel in the near future. And all you'll have to do to enter for that giveaway, and I'll announce it soon, is by signing up to BetUS. And of course, just placing at least one bet and sending me a screenshot via email that I have linked down below for you all. But let's get back into it, everybody. Scott Greenwald with the $2 holla. Scott says, back-to-back games, JD had the game-winning home run. You love to see it, Scott. You really do. Chef's kiss, folks. Let's break down the ball game now. We're only 20-plus minutes into this one, for F's sake. Okay. Darryl Strawberry number retirement tomorrow. Love that. Love you, Straw. Excited to see that happen there in Queens. Big day tomorrow, folks. And FYI, if I am live tomorrow night, it probably won't be right after the game. Have a long day tomorrow. Big day. Celebrating my grandmother's 80th as well. Very exciting, separate personal news. So we're going to have ourselves a nice dinner. So again, if I'm late to the party with coverage tomorrow, that is the reason why. It is for good reason. But it starts there in the first inning. We got the former Yanks matching up in Jordan Montgomery and Luis Severino. And in former Yankee fashion, they both get their tits slit. And that's just my way of saying F the Yanks here. No less, we see Corbin Carroll with a single, and then he reaches second base on a balk. Starling Marte with a hit by pitch. Jock Pearson with an RBI single and a stolen base. Gurriel with an RBI single. McCarthy with an RBI groundout. So just before you even had a chance to sit down and get comfortable, sip your drink, have yourself some snacks, have yourself dinner, the Mets are already down 3 runs because Luis Severino really struggled with his command there and his location in the first. In the bottom of the first there, we then see Francisco Lindor do what he does best, like lately, and that is get on base, baby. You'll love to see that. Lindor with the walk, Nimmo with the double, runners in scoring position with less than 2 out. JD Martinez loads the bases with a walk. Again, bases loaded with 1 out. And here comes Starling Marte. I look at my girlfriend in this instance, and I'm like, I don't know what to expect, because this just has double play written all over it, because that's how Marte has been. Feels like every other time he's out there. Not today. Starling Marte said, you know what, Cattell, step aside. Even if it's just for today, I will be the better player. And I appreciate that as someone who, again, literally tweeted a day or so ago that Cattell Marte is the better Marte. I guess Starling took that personally, and the star-studded Starling makes it a tied ball game 3-3 with a bases-clearing triple. Starling, again, if you're going to pick a player of the game, Wardy's player of the game, we haven't been able to do those in pretty much over a month. If you're going to pick one, don't have a graphic for it today. We will if the Mets actually play competent baseball more than 24 hours in a row. I got to go with Starling Marte. Fantastic day from him offensively. Just look at the numbers there. Awesome stuff. Ties the ball game 3-3. And the second, Tomas Nido, who is my backup catcher. Nido heard that, you know what? He doesn't have to deal with Omar Narvaez taking playing time away from him. And he rips himself a double. Tomas Nido, the best backup catcher one could possibly ask for, and the guy the Mets acquired today, Luis Torrens, via trade from the Yankees, is also a better option than Omar Narvaez. Just for some context, Torrens has around a 650 or so OPS so far this season, when Mr. Omar Narvaez had himself a measly sub 400, and he's not making $8 million the way Omar is this season. So again, we will gladly take those little wins, and the Mets are only paying Luis Torrens $100,000, and I promise you they will get more production throughout that short period of time or the next week or two until Alvarez returns than what Omar Narvaez gave you at any point probably throughout his Metropolitan career. James McCann and Omar Narvaez are probably having a steak dinner tonight, knowing that they robbed the Mets of millions, because that is exactly what they did, and that's not only their fault, but that's also the Mets' fault for thinking that these guys are worthwhile to invest on. I digress. We advance further here in the second, everybody. Nido with the double. Lindor drives him in. We love to see it with an RBI double himself. Francisco Lindor continues to get the offense going. Who's the Met that got seriously hurt, Stoney? I have no clue what you're talking about, my man. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're talking about the guy in AAA, it's not a Met. It's the guy the Mets played. It was the opposing catcher against the Syracuse Mets is the one that got hit, I believe, on a fall through or backswing, got hit in the back of the head, and that is why he unfortunately had to get stretchered out of there. Terrible stuff in AAA Syracuse, and I really pray, again, that he is okay, and so is the guy that unfortunately hit him there from the Mets side of things. Reed Garrett announced after the game in an interview the day that he would be throwing his fastball first to fix his problem, shaking my, no, we need to stop that. Reed Garrett has only been effective because he went from having a fastball-heavy arsenal to making his third or fourth pitch in his arsenal. If he's going to start deferring and relying on that heater, you might as well send him back down to AAA, because that's the kind of production you're going to be getting, or should I say lack thereof. Love Reed Garrett. Love the story he's been so far this season. Have not loved Reed Garrett's latest outings. He is looking more and more prone to being hit and targeted, and teams are eating him up for breakfast because they know what to get from him. That is the bigger thing that I've noticed for Reed Garrett as of late. But as we break down more of this ballgame, everybody, we see there again after the RBI double by Lindor to give the Mets a fourth, pardon me, before we even got there, I'm a schmuck. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm lost in the sauce right now. We got ourselves a Mark Vientos RBI infield single, his first of 3 hits on the day, that made it a 4-3 Mets lead. And then Jose Iglesias in his first at-bat as a Metropolitan, who was a little kid. He said he felt like a rookie, the 34-year-old veteran infielder called up by the Mets today. He had himself a strikeout on 3 pitches, both, again, terrible at-bat against Monty there. And Monty gets out of that jam after giving up 4 runs after his team scored 3 the half inning prior. Then we see Nido with the double, the Lindor RBI double to make it then a 5-3 ball game. In the top of the third, Cattell Marte with a single. Jock Peterson would reach on catcher's interference for a second straight day. F you, Jock. Walker then with a fielder's choice because it was a failed double play by Jose Iglesias. And again, I told each and every one of you, Jose Iglesias might be fun, but he's likely going to underwhelm you with this play, especially if he's starting. As much as I am not a guy that wants to see Jeff McNeil playing right now, per se, there's no denying that McNeil's defense every day of the week is going to be superior. McNeil, at absolute worst, is still around, just slightly below league average offender, about league average. Like, Jeff knows how to play second base just fine. He doesn't overly concern me there versus a Jose Iglesias who's barely had reps at the major league level at second base throughout his entire career. Iglesias botches the double play ball, and if it isn't for Pete Alonso diving way in front of first base to get the ball, again, that goes past him, and the problem is the next play, double play situation, Jose does it again, mails it past Pete Alonso, gets past him, it's an error, and again, the Mets had back-to-back double play balls that unfortunately could not be induced, and then thankfully after that, they get the final out to end the inning. But again, Jose Iglesias, what are you called up for? To be our utility option, to back it up on the bench, or when you get occasional starts, to just play competent defense. If the bat's there, awesome, but we just need defense. And what can Jose Iglesias not give you? Competent defense. I'm just telling you guys, don't be surprised if that happens more often. I don't hate it. I don't hate him. I'm just saying this is going to continue to probably be something you see a little bit for a guy that isn't used to the position as well. The only reason, again, why it made sense to send down Brett Beatty is because Brett has like 0 reps outside of third base when it comes to infield positions for the most part, and Beatty has been underwhelming, and they want to make sure he gets consistent playing time. So hopefully, again, by him getting more work in AAA when he's only had 30 or so AAA games under his belt in his young career, will help get him right for the next time the Mets decide to call him up. Who's going to tomorrow's strawberry ceremony? I unfortunately will not be there because I got family birthday coming up, but anyone that's attending, have a fantastic time, everybody. Hope you have a great time, great vibes there at Citi Field. K. Robinson, how are you? How did it end up 10-9? They were blowing them out when I stopped watching. K. Robinson, I'll break it all down for you, my friend. Stay tuned. Daniel, great member, All Things Mets Talk. Thank you so much to all my live and reoccurring members, subscribers. You guys are the absolute best. Cannot wait to take your live calls, too, after we break down a bit more on the ball game. And as we see there, folks, after the fielder's choice, after the Ketel Marte single in the top of the third, Jock reaches on the catcher's interference. Then we see the back-to-back double play failures. One of them leads to a RBI by Gurriel on the fielder's choice. So it is a 5-4 ball game there, still in the Mets' favor. In the bottom of the third, Bader with a double, and I love it. Guys, the one thing I gotta say that I absolutely love, and I'm actually gonna pan to it right now because it is just an absolute thing of beauty, folks. I gotta show you all just briefly. Not going to play the audio, but it's just hilarious because they have whoever made this, Diana on Twitter, has Sexy Red as the music. And if you know, you know. But if you guys just take a look here briefly, just for a second. Look, the Mets' new Selly, in case you guys haven't picked up on it, is all about slapping ass. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. That looks like a team that's slapping cheeks. If you guys know the Key and Peele skit from over a decade ago about slap ass, that is exactly the vibes that I'm getting here. I don't know what else to make of it. What is it? I mean, unless they're fly swatting, that looks like some cheek slapping, and everyone has their different personal preference in the lineup and how many. Maybe you just get one, maybe you get back and forth, whatever you want. All I know is the Mets have a slap ass in offense right now, and I will gladly take that. We will take those fun little stories while we can get them. Fastball, slider, cutter, tunneling has really started to bleed. Yep, look, he's been tipping. Yep, 100%. I know he has been worked quite a bit, Reed Garrett. I will preface that. That does go in hand with the lack of performance a little bit, so that is true, Carson. But yes, we can all agree, though, he's becoming more susceptible, and when you're relying on that heater, that is not a good thing. It's not good, right? All Things Mets Talk says weird. I love it. I love the chat. You guys crack me up. You really do. But all right, getting back into this one, breaking down more of the ball game, everybody. We see then in the bottom of the fourth, Tomasino with a walk. Alonso with an RBI double makes it again a Mets 2-run lead at that point, 6-4. Alonso's first big hit of the day. JD Martinez with an infield single. Marte then with an RBI single makes it 7-4, and that was Starling Marte's fourth RBI of the day. Mark Vientos with his second RBI, this time again via single, makes it an 8-4 Mets lead. At the top of the fifth, Corbin Carroll with a single, Ketel Marte with a walk, nothing else happens there. In the bottom of the fifth then, Jose Iglesias with a single, Francisco Lindor with a single, Iglesias gets to third base, Lindor's out trying to get to second base. Iglesias, after his first career hit as a Met that you guys have probably seen the highlights, asks for the ball. So again, Iglesias said pregame today that he feels like a rookie again being called up by the Mets. He's so excited. The fact that he went the lengths of collecting his first hit as a Met is insane. I don't think I've ever seen that from a veteran player in the case of a utility option like Jose Iglesias. So even though Jose underwhelming, very underwhelming with his defense today, I love the vibes. So I appreciate that, Jose. Happy to have you here, and hopefully the next time you're out there, you're better defensively than what we saw transpire this evening. Jose Iglesias, though, got the hit there. Mets couldn't convert. In the top of the 6th, we see Eugenio Suarez with the home run, and that is going to do it for Luis Severino's day. Sevy's day is as follows, everybody. 5 innings of 6 hit, 5 run, 4 earned run ball, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Sevy with a 3.52 ERA on the season. On a scale of 1 to 10, everybody, let me know where you stand in the chat from Luis Severino's outing today. Again, far from dominant. I'm personally going to give Sevy an outing like this, probably a 4 out of 10 if I'm being frank. Love Sevy, just didn't really have it today. And again, the defense didn't do himself any favors either. Daniel with the 5 gifted, everybody. If you don't know what 5 gifted means, 5 of you live viewers just became channel members because of Daniel being a very generous and great supporter here on the channel. Congratulations, Alex, Andres, DNY Committee. You guys are all now new members on the channel. Thank you all so much for being in here. Daniel, thank you so much greatly for the donations there with all those memberships. That really does mean a lot. Let's get some love. Let's get some hype in the chat for my man Daniel. As always, what a beauty he is. Really does mean a lot. 15 wins in a row. Who says no, baby? Let's get it rolling. Thanks for the free 43 bucks bets, and thank you so much for the memberships, Daniel. I love you, buddy. Again, if I can help you by you tailing my picks and then you give me some of those memberships, I think we're going to have ourselves a lasting relationship and certainly not a toxic one. Professional certified hater with the $2 donation says, good win, but choking massive leads has to stop. Couldn't agree more, my friend. Trust me, we were all sweating bullets there. I was screaming my head off, and my computer was crashing all during the same time. It was literally a solid 5 minutes of hell here in the WardyNYM household. All right, guys, let's break down the rest of this. In the bottom of 6, Nimmo with a single. JD Martinez with his second, again, go-ahead game-winning home run. This time an opposite field Dane-Don 2-run shot. JDM again rallying the boys. You'll love to see it. That is the hitting savant, and that is what the Mets invested in when they bought him this offseason late, right before the season began. Love JD Martinez. Love everything that he brings to this Mets team, and now you guys are starting to see what a lethal and healthy JDM can do in a deep lineup. Just imagine how much deeper this lineup can be when the guys are firing like they were today with Francisco Alvarez in the thick of things. Between Francisco Alvarez, Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, and Mark Vientos, and Brandon Nimmo, the Mets 5 at minimum out of 9 all have 30-plus home run threats. Yes, I went there. Mark Vientos has all the potential to be a 30 home run plus hitter in Major League Baseball. Just once he finds his consistency, once he gets continued reps, I really do think that he can get there at any point in his career, even if it isn't right away. The Mets have the power there. Now, hopefully they can, again, the same way that they ride high, I hope that when they ride low, that they aren't in consistent unison with each other and just a couple guys and not the whole damn team. That is hopefully what a guy like Francisco Alvarez returning to the team can bring to you, is more consistency with the offense and really get the boys rallying, knowing that, again, this is a hitting savant, a former World Series champion that just knows what it takes to win and knows the proper approaches when it comes to these things. All right, guys. Final things to say here after the JDM bomb. That was awesome. Vientos was third hit of the day, poked one, and again, what wasn't an easy at-bat for him against the Southpaw Allen there, I believe. Jake Diekman then works a nice 1-2-3 7th inning. Sean Reed-Foley with a nice clean work there that we saw in the 8th inning. And then the 9th inning, Sean Reed-Foley allows a couple guys to get on base. Unfortunately, Reed Garrett comes in, and Reed Garrett, when it comes to inheriting runners, has been piss poor this season. We know that. Reed Garrett, without inheriting runners, pretty solid for the most part. With runners on, not so much. And unfortunately, he was susceptible to the lawn ball as he gave up a 3-run Dane-Don to Mets killer Jock Pearson to right, makes it a 2-run ball game. And the other big bopper in that line, Mr. Christian Walker, rips one to left shortly after to make it a 1-run ball game. And thankfully, Lourdes Gurriel, again struggling to see those pitches from Reed Garrett, strikes out swinging, and that does it. That is your ball game, everybody. The New York Metropolitans go on to win by a final score of 10-9 in dramatic fashion, emphatic fashion. And yes, they're still 9 games below 500, but hey, I want entertaining baseball. I want victories. For the past 2 nights, the Mets have at least done that, and I will take that. This team showed us what they were. I agree with you, Priest. I agree with you. But here's the thing. If the Mets get on a heater, the Mets really start colliding themselves back, The same way that they've shown us what they are is the same way that we also shouldn't write off another 100 games to be had this season. I think both things can be true at the same time, even if that means the Mets still continue to struggle to win series consistently. They salvage series more often than not. They become full sellers by the deadline. We are still not there, so until we are fully there, we're going to see what this team has in store for us. And I will say this, I'm very happy to see the kind of production, at least on the offensive end, the past couple of days. Bullpen didn't do us much favors today, but again, Danilo Nunez coming in, eating, again, those final couple outs in relief there for Luis Severino. It's those kind of quick call-ups at the AAA level, which have been quite effective for the Mets this season, and I do expect more to happen sooner rather than later. Priest, I know you don't care about 2 wins. You're not going to give a rat's ass. Priest, you're going to be bitching about the team every single day until the Mets literally put you in a position where you can't yap about them. I'm well aware of that. We all know this. It's 2 in a row. You're damn right, is all good. We may never lose a game again, and surely that is not sarcasm. Okay. Guys, I gotta ask you, what's your biggest takeaway tonight? Because I'm telling you right now, when we take a look just briefly on the pitching, shout out to my great friend, as always, at Isaac Rothman. If you guys don't know Isaac is a great friend of mine and a fantastic little pitching analyst of himself that you guys can check out on Twitter, at Isaac Rothman, and here's what he has to say about the pitching report. Again, maybe some information that you didn't know beyond the eye test. I'm not going to break down too much on Luis Severino today. Just the velo was down a tick that we saw. He threw his sinker more than he had, and than he had in this start. He threw his four seam less. He relied a little too heavily on the sinker today and didn't induce the soft contact he was hoping for. He's still using the sweeper as his main secondary pitch, but didn't get the whiff rates that we have seen previously on it. Overall, he had him at around a grade out of 5 out of 10. He threw a season high 103 pitches. After throwing a season high 103 pitches his last start, I should say, Sevy didn't have his sharpest outing. Maybe that went in hand with it because he had a heavy workload last time around. All I know is Luis Severino has been a dog for the Mets plenty, and I'm not going to beat up on him when he has had many sharp outings this year that the Mets offense completely wasted. It's about time the Mets offense picked up on a lack of pitching that they've had, even with them floundering the way that they did in their bullpen later on in the ballgame. Ass-slapping way of life, says D in the chat. Love to see it. You really do. Great member as always, everybody. But that's what you really got in the pitching end. I'm not going to talk too much. Danilo Nunez, again, was very sharp himself. Was putting like there, and he is a guy that, again, is going to be a nice, multi-inning option for the Mets if they need to call upon, or again, just eat some quality innings when they need him to, and various types of relief. And on the hitting end, everybody, we have as follows, and this will, again, we're going to get to your live callers here shortly. I want to be quick with all this stuff. We see here from the offense, again, the Mets had 14 hits to the Diamondbacks 9, at 362 expecting batting average to 245, back-to-back nights at Citi Field. And I will say this, everybody, for a Mets team that has been putrid at home, putrid, especially on the weekend games, it's about damn time that they showed up for these Mets fans who attended, because Citi Field was absolutely bopping tonight. It was packed. There was a lot of fans there. Beautiful night weather-wise, too. Even here, in Pennsylvania where I reside, I was watching most of the game chilling on my deck today by the fire. It was just really, really nice night. Again, if you're enjoying the weather today here on the East Coast. So a lot of you Mets fans that attended tonight, I hope that you enjoyed what was, again, a nail-biting, very stressful, but still very entertaining victory for the team in Queens. Something that we don't see too often, so we will gladly take those when they come, because we know it might not be a lot for a good period of time again. But the Mets from their offense, Francisco Lindor, 2 for 4 tonight with the double and the RBI, a 229 average and a 700 OPS. We see there Pete Alonso, 1 for 5 with the RBI double, 234 average, 768 OPS. Brandon Nimmo, 2 for 5 with a run scored, 2 strikeouts, 214 average, 728 OPS. But we cannot forget the biggest standout with Brandon Nimmo today was his fantastic defense in left field. Robbed Eugenio Suarez of a double earlier in the ballgame, if I'm not mistaken. Tremendous catch on the run with the jump as well, perfectly timed, and also had himself a really nice catch later on the ball again that he dove for as well. Brandon Nimmo loved the performance today, Brandon. JD Martinez, 1 for 4 with a 3-run scored and the 2-run ding-dong, 272 average, 785 OPS this season. Starling Marte starting to climb up with his offense, 2 for 4 with the 4 RBIs and the bases clearing triple tonight. A run scored, 271 average, 728 OPS. Mark Vientos, Marky V goes 3 for 5 with the 2 RBIs, 327 average, 969. Nice OPS. Harrison Bader, 1 for 4 with the double, 272 average, 681 OPS. Jose Iglesias, 1 for 4, 250 average, 500 OPS to start his MLB season with the Mets. And Tomas Nido, who I've been absolutely love everything that the Nido King has done as of late. 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored, the double, and a walk, 237 average, 654 OPS on the season. How you doing, Kevin? Great member. Happy to have you in here. Was Lindor hitting since he became leadoff hitter? Much better over the past 2 days, especially. The numbers continue to get better. And Lindor is now on a 10-game hitting streak, folks. And throughout that 10-game hitting streak, he has right around north of 1,000 OPS and over 300 average. He has looked fantastic. So again, they're riding high right now. They're riding hot. And Francisco Alvarez, not Alvarez yet at least, Francisco Lindor is right in the thick of things, which you absolutely love to see, everybody. Now, guys and gals, before we get on to taking your live callers, because that is what I'm really pumped up to do, and again, I'm really looking forward to that one. Continue smashing the like and subscribe on if you guys haven't already. But before we deep dive it, let's just hear a quick word from today's video sponsor, our great friends at SoRare MLB. Because in case you guys and gals do not know SoRare MLB, SoRare is the best MLB fantasy game out there. Again, it is free to play, but you, of course, can buy, sell, and trade your unique cards that you utilize to build your rosters. And how you build your rosters, again, is by drafting your team. You then enter weekly tournaments that, again, start on Mondays and Fridays. So a new tournament started today, for example. Basically takes up around a series, 3 or 4 days of a normal series for any team in baseball, like the Mets, for example. And if you do well in these tournaments, based on how the players perform in real life, you can win cash prizes, hundreds if not thousands of dollars. Mets ticket prizes, in which we gave away a bunch of Mets tickets on the past on the channel, all just for signing up with our unique link and, again, entering a free draft to enter. And again, guys, SoRare MLB, what is so awesome is that you are truly your own GM. When you play this fantasy game, there's an incentive to, again, perform well in these tournaments, upgrade your cards, and that way you go from having cards in which you can't make any money on to cards in which you can buy, sell, and trade, and all that kind of exciting, fun stuff. So again, guys, make sure to check out our great friends at SoRare MLB today for all your fantasy needs. Next week in our shows, I'm going to be showing you guys as well a bit, if not this weekend, actually might happen this weekend too, just not tonight, showing you guys a bit on the marketplace, how to purchase cards as well, and the type of different cards that are out there. And again, if you had a guy like Francisco Lindor, JD Martinez, and Starling Marte in your lineup, you're having yourself a nice night with the way the Mets perform tonight. This is my current roster. I'm a schmuck. I have Edwin Diaz in the lineup when he's on the injury list, just because I didn't have any better reliever options there. Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Luis Severino, Brandon Nimmo, Mr. Joey Ortiz, and Logan Hoppe, who again has been hitting the ball really well lately, has hit home runs in back-to-back games, entering tonight's game if I'm not mistaken. But that is the current roster that I'm rocking. I'm currently ranked 1,860th out of a good portion of people right now in this All-Star tournament, out of roughly 11,000. Again, this tournament ends in a couple days after the weekend or so we'll see how I do with this player performances after that. Sevy, unfortunately, didn't give me a sharp start, so that hurts me a bit, but hopefully I can land in the top 1,000, if not top 500 by the end of things, with key performances elsewhere that'll help me get a nice little reward. Because if the reward isn't going to be cash prizes and things of that nature, you can win better cards than what you currently have on your roster that you don't have to spend a dime for. So shout out, as always, to our great friends at SoRare MLB. All right, guys, it's time to take your live callers. You guys want to talk about the Metropolitans? You want to chop it up? You want to talk about this victory? You want to talk about why you hate this Mets team so much? You want to talk about why you love this Mets team so much? Whatever your thoughts are, we are going to get into it now, folks. And again, when you guys call in, just a couple things. One, I will have a link available for you all in the live chat on YouTube. It'll be pinned. You guys can click the link to enter. It's going to be through the StreamYard software. You click it, you put in your name, the same name that you have on YouTube. That way I know it's you. Have your camera on, because even though I'm not going to show you guys on screen, it'll just be the audio. That way I know who you guys are, and you guys aren't doing anything stupid, because people like to act stupid sometimes. And then most importantly, just talk about the Mets. Tell me about this victory in your opinion. Tell me any key questions you have for me, any events that you want to have, any rants you want to go on, and just try to keep it fairly concise, especially if we have multiple callers lined up tonight. I want to make sure that I'm not taking too much time with one person, then I can't get to the next. I want to take as many as I can over the next 20 minutes or so before we wrap up the show. So let's get right into it, everybody. Let's see. Sevy was down an inch of rise on his fastball. Too many sliders on the heart of the plate. Still got 9 whiffs, 98 stuff plus, 96 command plus, 99 pitching plus. If I calculated that right, don't quote me. Carson, I believe you. The pitch stuff, the stuff plus is very important too. And it's nice to see that Sevy was still around the league average on those tonight. Again, just was far from his most proficient outing that you would usually see out there. So thrown glove may be the saving the season. It might just be that. You know what? I don't care what is the type of rally for this Mets team. I just want to see them rally, and I just want to see them play entertaining baseball. It's not, you think it's not that difficult to ask, but when it comes to the Mets, it can be very, very difficult to ask. All right, guys, let's get you all set up so we can start to take your calls, and then we'll go from there. Okay, you guys hear me good? All right, we already got some callers. We got AZ, we got Harrison, we got Paul, we got Cherno. Oh, we got 1 for 4. You guys are ready to go. You're ready to let it rip. I love that. Thank you, guys. I'm going to get to you all here shortly, everybody. We got Emerson. Awesome. Emerson's rocking the black Mets jersey. He's ready to go. He's flipping a baseball. He's feeling good. Oh, my goodness. We got a bunch of schmucks in here. I love it. I absolutely love it. Know that I'm saying schmucks with love, not hate. Please understand. Okay, guys, let's get into this one. We're going to take calls quickly. Again, we have, as of now, a solid, anywhere from 5 to 7 people lined up at the moment. So, guys, again, just please be respectful when you come in, 1, and 2, just try not to be too long-winded with anything that you have to say, just so I can get on to the next call, and we continue to keep things rolling and afloat. Let's start with my man, AZ. AZ, how are you, brother?
It's been a rough month.
Oh, wait, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, AZ, just because the audio is not coming through. It was coming through initially, but now it's not. So just give me 1 second. I want to make sure this is all properly set up for you all. Okay, that's good to go. That should be good. Give me 1 more second, and then I think we'll be good. Just give me 1 second, everybody. Of course, as soon as I'm about to roll, the headphones just don't work, because why would they? Why would anything go the way that needs to, right? 1 more minute. Okay, now I hear you in the headphones. Okay, AZ, speak.
Hello.
Okay, we're good. What you got for me, brother?
Let's be real here. It's been a rough couple months to be a Mets fan, but it's why you put on the hats, you buy the jerseys. It's never easy.
Oh, it is never easy. Not at all. But what do you got for me? What's your biggest takeaway from the victory tonight? Are there any specific questions you got? If so, let me know.
It's from what I've saw in this game, it's never pretty with the Mets. They go on this hot streak, then they start giving up these runs. It's like I said in the chats, it makes me want to rip my hair out when they blow these types of leads. But they were able to stay in and then pull off the win today.
Yeah, no, they thankfully were able to leg this one out, and it was a much-needed victory, to say the least, too, with the way that this team has just been so underwhelming for quite literally a month straight, right? So, I guess my question to you is there anything specific you got for me, 1, and 2, what are you hoping for the Mets here going forward?
It's mostly for the bats to stay consistent. It's great to see that Mark Vientos looks comfortable in this spot since Beatty is not breathing down his neck. It's hopefully the pitching gets to turn. The pitching keeps staying consistent, more specifically the bullpen. Hopefully the pitching staff turns it up a notch. Sevy didn't have his best stuff today, but he's currently our best pitcher right now.
Yeah. No, he has been for the most part. He really has been. And even though he didn't have his sharpest stuff today, I'm not concerned. It was just one of those days where, Sevy just wasn't the guy that we were hoping that he was going to be.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's back in his 2018 Yankees uniform.
Yeah.
He's been great.
He really has been. Well, AZ, unless you got anything specific for me, my man, I greatly appreciate you calling in, and hopefully next time you call in, the Mets are 15 games above 500.
Yeah, hopefully. So
unless you
they're not.
unless you call in a couple days, then we'll have to pump the
No,
brakes on that one.
hopefully not. I'm not expecting to win 100 games, but hopefully they have a chance at the playoffs this year.
Yes, fingers crossed, my man. Well, AZ,
Yeah.
thank you so much for calling in, my man, and you have a great rest of
Thank
your
you.
evening. Okay, thank
Yep.
you. Shout out AZ. AZ always calls in, longtime supporter, good friend here on the channel. Appreciate him calling in. Now let's get on to our next one, and that is gonna be Harrison. Harrison, how are you?
Hey, Wardy, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Where you been? Where you been, Harrison? I feel like I haven't seen you in a
Wardy, I
minute.
can't hear you for some reason. Can I reload?
Yeah, go ahead and reload. Okay, we'll get right back to Harrison in a second. In the meantime, let's get on to our next caller, Paul. Paul, do you hear me?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes. How are you, my man?
Good, how are you? I just want to say 2 words, 5 syllables. Francisco Lindor.
Oh yes. Oh,
Listen.
guys, you got to see. He's jumping out of his seat right now. Priest on a plane is losing his shit because we have Lindor love in the chat right now. Let me see it. Let me hear it.
Listen, man. Fun fact, I actually started the Lindor ovation on Twitter. Shameless plug, Alvarez Met for life. That's my username. I started the whole
shit.
thing.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly who you are. Bet. What's up, man?
Yeah, hey. We follow each other, so
Yeah,
nice
sweet.
talking to you. And back to my point, man. You don't know how crazy this is. I feel so vindicated. I spent like the past 2 months defending him, like fighting tooth and nail, and he finally comes through.
wait. I'm sorry. Your audio cut out with your cat. That's the funniest shit, guys. He literally just had his cat walk across like his laptop and muted the thing. Oh, the callers yesterday were funny.
Yeah.
They just keep getting better. All right, let it rip.
What did I stop talking on?
You were talking about Lindor and just how amazing he is.
Yeah, I feel vindicated. For the past 2 months, I've been defending him tooth and nail, man. Everyone, I just feel so vindicated because he's on pace for, I think, a 5.2 WAR season. He's batting over 300 now. It's amazing. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen Better Call Saul, where
Of course.
Yeah, Chuck's like, I am not crazy.
Yes.
I am not crazy.
Yes.
That's me, man.
No, you're right. That's a great reference too. All-time show.
I know I was right.
One of the few shows where I would argue one of the few shows where I would argue that a prequel is borderline as good as the original show. That is how good Better Call Saul is, on a completely separate tangent. But one thing I do want to add there with Lindor, just for a fun fact, everybody, Francisco Lindor is already one of the top players in the National League with WAR, and over the past 10, 11 games, he is first in the National League in WAR. So just for some emphasis there to suggest that Lindor, again, is not going to be productive this season, or that he's not going to get kind of where you want him to be. He will, and he has been blossoming a lot over the last couple weeks. Again, I understand everybody being pissed off about a slow start. No one wants that from their $325 million man. I'm the first to say that I don't want that either. But it's about, okay, is he going to be able to help lead this team now when they need it? And I also understand the controversy with Lindor, which is, okay, he's stepping up when the Mets are now basically have dug themselves a hole that they can't dig themselves out of. So my question to you is, when you hear those kind of remarks, what do you say that is accurate? What do you say that is invalid? Because, well, there's a lot of numbers to suggest that isn't valid at all in recent history with the Mets and Lindor, but I'm just curious to know where your standpoint is on that.
I mean, it's factually true. He's a slow starter. I think the first month or two, his stats aren't that good. That being said, if you're relying on one player for the first 2 months and you're out of contention by then, you're just a bad team. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, how about this? How about the rest of the team? Because there's, there's 8 other players on the lineup. Just carry him until, get in the water until late May, June. And Lindor's there and it helps you out, I feel like that's kind of a non-thing. I mean, I think last year Bryce Harper didn't start out that good either, and the Phillies picked him up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Feel like it's a non-issue.
And I think separately too, not as much Bryce, but Trey Turner. Like Trey got the standing O after a really underwhelming good stretch, to kick off the season with the Phillies, and then he went on a heater from there. So yeah, there is something to make from not only the standing O's that we've talked about, but just understanding the ebbs and flows of a season. I think it's very easy also to rag on a player of Lindor's magnitude with the contract always won, but two, for him to have a slow start versus starting hot and then maybe cooling off. I think fans wouldn't be nearly as bothered if he came out guns blazing, the Mets are playing well, and then maybe he fell in the category with other players when they just weren't doing well. But it was like, okay, we're still around 500, above 500. It's not the end of the world. Just say a bad month for Lindor. It just sticks out so much more like a sore thumb when you're expecting Lindor to essentially be not only a leader in the clubhouse, but on the field with his performance. And he didn't even know how to hit from the left side of the plate for the first month of the season. So I understand both sides, but I appreciate you going out of your way, going to bat for him. I know that he sure does too. Again, Lindor sees all the comments. He hears them all every single day. And I'm sure it's very, again, regardless of the money you're making, that is still a lot to deal with from a mental aspect with having a polarizing fan base the way that Mets fans are. But Paul, unless you got any final comments for me, my man, I'm going to let you go. So again, thank you so much for calling in, brother.
I got two things to say really quick. First, what you just said reminded me, Aaron Judge this year was awful for the first month or two, and now he's back to normal.
Right.
My second point, it's really quick. Am I allowed to curse or?
Yeah, as long as you don't say shit that like I don't say usually, you're fine.
Yeah, no. Okay, fuck Jock Peterson. I wish we got Tommy a fan right now so we could slap him again. That's all I want to say.
Shout out to Paul. What a G.
Right.
Love that. That's great. All right, Paul the Beauty. Again, the man that's kicked off the standing O for Mr. Francisco Lindor is like, let's give Jock another slap. I'm all in the Tommy Pham train, I'll tell you that much. And I can't stand Jock Peterson. Not because I hate the guy personally, but because he just, again, eats up the Mets for breakfast every time we play him. Speaking of City Connects, everybody, I see you guys talk in the chat. The Mets aren't rocking the City Connects tomorrow, guys. They're purposely not rocking them tomorrow because it's Strawberry's retirement day. So to anyone concerned that the City Connect curse will be valid tomorrow, don't worry. It might be continued, but it will not be tomorrow. The Mets are not wearing the City Connects this Saturday. So don't got to worry about that. Now let's get back at this one. Harrison, we're going to try you again. Do you hear me this time?
Yes, I'm sorry. My friend calls me. It's my fault.
Oh, it's okay. I see that priorities first don't involve Wardy. It's fine. I'll get over it.
I'm sorry.
I'll go to sleep.
Listen.
Harrison, where have you been? Harrison, you're an OG on the channel. I feel like I see you all the time, and you've just been snoozing. Have you been sleeping on the Mets the past month, the way that they haven't been awake?
Yeah, because I've been following the Syracuse Mets more.
Okay,
and I went
that's
to a
fair.
game there, so I can't lie. I've been following Syracuse much more than the Mets because of how pathetic they've been. And
I love that.
To be honest, I'd rather watch the Yankees now. I'm not going to jump there, but I'd rather watch the Yankees.
Whoa, Harrison, we had a good thing going. All right.
No, I'm not a fan of the Yankees, but I'd rather watch how they play offense than our offense right now. Our defense, like I said, with Jose Iglesias isn't it. We need Acuna up. Acuna is really good. I saw him in Syracuse on May 19th. He delivered the walk-off for Syracuse, and he was getting on base a lot. And plus, he had way better defense than Iglesias that game, is something I noticed. He's not ready yet, but by deadline, I think he should be fine. And
I agree.
As an update, huh?
I agree with you on Acuna. He's not getting called up yet, but I do think he's 100% here by the deadline.
Yeah, and another thing is that catcher, by the way, this was on the Buffalo Bison's Twitter. He's responsive in the hospital, so he's okay.
Good.
But otherwise, yeah, I've been following the minor league Mets more than Syracuse. Than the New York Mets actually.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, if you're following the club and if you're even following more of the minors, I think that's probably the best thing you could do while still trying to stay up to date with the team because you're looking at guys that are going to be impacting the Mets in the near future as soon as this season, one, and two, some guys that again will be on the Mets next season as well that we won't see this year. So you're not wrong for that. I hope you had a great time in the game, my man. But any specific comments you got for me before I let you go?
Yeah, the reason why I've kind of been offline, like, on YouTube was I've been very busy with my college stuff.
Oh, okay.
I can't lie to you. I've been very, very busy with prom, college, both of those things.
There you go.
Harrison,
if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
18.
18, okay.
I turned 18 May 17th. That was my birthday game.
Awesome, yes. Happy belated birthday again. That's awesome. So, yeah, you got a whole lot of things in life going on. And look, when I was 18,
pretty much.
Trust me, college, getting ready for college, prom, those were all priority number one. So I don't fault you
Yeah.
whatsoever, especially with the way the Mets have been playing. What, you want to go out your way to
No.
watch this team right now? Come on. What are
No,
we doing here?
listen, I wasn't busy tonight, so I was able to actually watch the game. But everyone keeps saying how we can't blow leads. I was following the Marlins Mets game on May 19th. My dad had a bet saying we would win on BetUS. Shout out to BetUS also.
Shout out to BetUS.
Um,
There you go. Love that.
He got a very good parlay for the Marlins to walk it off, and he ended up winning money because of Diaz blowing the
There
game.
you go.
That stuff cannot happen to us anymore. That stuff cannot happen. You know, the Mets almost blew the game tonight. They're probably this close to it, if we're being honest. We were very close to it, and if we're going to keep playing this type of baseball, yes, let's keep winning. But can we please just not have one stressful game? I can't do it. That's like why I've been watching minor leagues. They lose. Oh, great. There's another game tomorrow. You know, it's a 4-game series. It's not. It's not 3, like it is in MLB.
Yeah. No, you're right. And again, I don't fault you whatsoever for the lack of interest or attention as of late. But Harrison, I'm happy to hear from you, my man, and I hope you have a great summer for any time that we talk next. And you just have a good rest of your evening, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Harrison. Appreciate Harrison calling in. He's, again, a longtime follower. May you guys know him on the channel. Really appreciate him. We got more callers to get to, folks. So next up is Mr. LTC Cherno. Cherno's got the jersey on. He's got the Mets hat on. He's rocking.
Hey, I got to rock 2006, man. This is David Wright, and I got my old 2006 hat.
Ooh, baby. He's got the black hat with the blue brim. We love that. What do you got for me, Cherno?
Man, you guys thought Reed Garrett's leadoff walk yesterday was stressful. How about this one?
I know, seriously. We're not allowed to have nice things, apparently. That's just how it works.
I got nervous for a second, but, you know, it's nice to have 2 runs in a row for a change instead of, you know, one every few days. But, nah, just good. Good vibes, at least. It's nice seeing the bats heat up. Now we just see if we can get the bullpen to start locking things down like they were in April. But, you know, onward and upward.
Onward and upward. Yeah, I mean, that's just how it works, isn't it? I've been saying it a lot. It's the Mets philosophy. When you have pitching, you don't have starting. When you have starting pitching, you don't have relief.
It's
when
like it's like that GIF everybody posts where it's like, you know, run support, starting pitching.
Oh, when you're clicking and nothing can ever be aligned.
Just one unclicks. Oh
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I mean, it's not 2023 bad, you know, but it's
bad. It's bad. It's definitely. Let's be frank. That the past month of baseball that we've watched is probably the worst month that we have seen in a couple of years. I'm trying to think of if there was a month. I don't even think I could say June was worse last year than this, because this was just brutal. I mean, look, the Mets round out the month of May with what? 8-9 wins. I know that they had less in June. I know that they had less in June last year, but this was brutal. I mean, this is up there. This was one of the worst months in recent history, which is saying a lot about the team.
Yeah. I mean, it's what it is, but I can think of worse stretches, but like as a whole month, I don't know, man. Yeah,
a whole month. It's one thing to have a bad week or two. It's another to play just a piss poor baseball for a month straight. So
yeah,
true. I guess I got my big question for you is not only was your biggest takeaway from tonight, but 2, what is your thought process on the Mets going forward this season?
My biggest takeaway is felt a little vindicated because my fellow Mets fans that I know are getting a little tired of me saying, you know, give Mark Vientos a chance. I've been singing and screeching that into the heavens for 2 years, and so it's nice to see him get a couple RBIs, get some consistent playing time, and I'm just curious to see how it's going. I'm excited to see. I like how excited people are to see Acuna. I hope they don't set their expectations too high.
Oh, you know they will.
I think they're putting a lot of pressure on him, because I've seen some people acting like he's going to just immediately join his brother in the 40-70 club.
The guy has no power in comparison to the two. It's night and day. He's a contact hitter.
He's half the. I mean, I am all in on him. I mean, I got his autograph from his Down East Wood Duck days, but that was
a really nice flex. You guys didn't see it on the camera, but he just casually pulled up the beautiful Ronnie card. Not Ronnie, but Acuna. Go ahead.
Yeah. Because I mean, I've been keeping up with him just because I didn't realize how many Acuñas have been through professional baseball. I thought it was just a couple, and then I start looking into it, I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of these guys. And when I saw we got Max Scherzer traded, I'm like, oh man, I love Max. And I saw it was 4, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not as mad about it. Same with Verlander, but anyway, yeah, I mean, he's half the size of his brother. Yeah, he's got a gorgeous swing, but if you guys are expecting him to just hit like 40 home runs a season, you know, maybe a bunch of singles, but no. But I'm looking forward to it. But I'm kind of glad that they didn't bring him up today. I hate to say it, because I don't think it would have gone as well as people would have liked. So
Right.
kind of glad he's there getting those reps.
Yeah, I think in the case of Acuna, while I like him, especially as a lightning rod, because his pure athleticism, I think trumps what McNeil can give you for the most part. Just like, well, not only the defense, but really the base running. The Mets have been, again, a piss poor base running team in a MLB
Awful.
that warrants great base running now because it's so easy to steal. It's so easy to get ahead. It's so easy to get those jumps. And the Mets have just taken zero advantage of that thus far. I mean, Starling Marte with nine stolen bases so far throughout the first 50 games. I mean, not what you're hoping for, you know, just not the best look. Even Francisco Lindor, again, has cooled off quite a bit on the stolen base front in comparison to his pace from last season, too. So,
I mean, realistically, there's only 3 guys on the team, you know, with Lindor, Marte, and now, I guess you got Taylor, and then Harrison Bader, who can realistically steal. But, I mean, Acuna definitely, if you can get him on base, you know, you might get something to pay off, but we'll have to see, because he's a speedy little dude. We'll have to see.
No, he really is. But Cherto, I appreciate you calling in, brother. Any final remarks you got for me before I let you out of here?
Let's go Mets, and let's not try to have a bunch of migraines by the end of the weekend.
Damn right, brother. Have a great one, my man. Appreciate you calling in. Shout out to Cherto, as always, everybody. We got a couple more callers to get into. We're going to go Brandon. Then we got Emerson. Then we got Steven, Allen. You guys will all be there, and then that'll probably wrap things up. And again, appreciate you guys for your patience. Let's get into our next caller here. And Brandon. Brandon got the Ranger hat on. That's already a plus. Hopefully they can show up tomorrow and not make me more depressed than I already am. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. What you got for me?
I try not to be too pessimistic, but what do you think we can realistically expect long-term when it comes to Francisco Lindor? Because I was very high on him when he came over, but I feel like it has been enough time and enough of a sample size for me to just feel that he is not the player that we signed him to be for this team. And I don't know how to feel about it.
Okay, so that's a good question because I think both things can be true on the Lindor front. Is he overpaid? Absolutely. Would I argue that most guys on $300 million contracts are significantly overpaid? Yes. I think that's more of a market issue to start there. And Lindor, when he got that contract, it made all the sense in the world when he looked at his numbers there in Cleveland. But I think a bigger part of the problem is that he also churned out those numbers, the majority of it, when it was the juice baseball era. And that's something that should not be understated as well. That goes in hand with him not necessarily performing to the exact caliber that he was. But what I will say, though, is that when we look at 2021, piss poor first month and a half, 2 months. We know that. Then he was riding high and playing pretty solid baseball with zero protection in the lineup outside of Alonso up until he got hurt against the Pirates in July with, his oblique. Then we see 2022. He goes on to have a fantastic season for the Mets as a true leader and, again, is a backbone for them in their 101-win season and is a tremendous WAR player, one of the best shortstops in Major League Baseball. Last season, he has a 30-30, 100 RBI season. Fantastic year for Lindor. He was the best shortstop in all the National League. I would say that when it comes to Lindor's production currently in his Mets tenure thus far, he has lived up to the hype as a star shortstop that, again, is going to be arguably the best shortstop in the game or certainly top 3 to top 5 in that category. But to suggest that he is going to live up to the contract, I don't think is ever going to happen unless the Mets win a championship with him, and he's a focal point of that. That's what changes everything. If Lindor is here, if he's a part of this core group, and the Mets win a championship throughout that tenure while he's still in his prime, that is what warrants the payday. Because even if you only get one championship with him, the Mets only have a couple championships in their history of an organization. So we can't sit here and be stubborn and say, okay, well, why couldn't we get more than one with him? Like, we have to just take the best that we can get. So I think there's a great reality where Lindor continues to underwhelm with the consistency, but when he does show up big. And I think that's what we're going to find ourselves falling in with him. So I don't think the narrative is going to change with Lindor. You're going to have the same fans that go after him when he has his struggles because they're expecting more on the financial end. But if you guys, just to reference, guys, if you're wondering, is he worth the money? Go on Fangraphs. Go on Fangraphs right now or whenever you want. Look up Francisco Lindor numbers. Go down in Fangraphs, and it will tell you the value per year of the player. Francisco Lindor in 2022 and 2023 has superseded his value in which he's been paid AAV by the Mets. So just, again, to give you guys some further information and examples of, are they actually playing to their worth value-wise? He has been. And as long as he can continue to turn things around the way he's doing that the past couple weeks, really the past month in certain ways, I do think Lindor is going to end up with another fine season. And with the depth with this offense, I will go as far to say that this Mets offense can easily be the deepest it's been since Lindor has started his Mets tenure. But will they be consistent enough? That is a grade A question, and that's the thing that they have faltered with far more than anything else so far this season.
Yeah, and I guess my only other question, it's not exactly a Mets-related question, but still New York sports-related. Do you think the Rangers have a legitimate shot tomorrow? It's been hard for me to follow the Mets as much as I've wanted to over the last few weeks because of the Rangers, but I have a feeling that it might be over tomorrow. I'm pretty pessimistic about it.
Yeah, I'm going to be frank. I'm fairly pessimistic too. The main reason why is the Rangers have been outplayed in the majority of the series. That's the big thing. If it isn't for Igor, they're already out. And that's the most frustrating thing about this. And my dad brought up a great point earlier, and I couldn't agree with him more. In a year where you're all in, why in God's name did you not even give up a King's ransom? I know it would have taken that, including a guy like Capo Caco, who Peter Laviolette doesn't even want in the lineup consistently, for Jake Gensel. And what did Jake Gensel do? Did exactly what you'd expect Jake Gensel to do all the way until the Rangers eliminated him. I think if the Rangers made that move, they are without question in a better spot to go all the way to the dance. Jack Roslovic is, again, someone who's been barely existent at times out there, and I think not addressing enough is going to bite this team in the ass beyond what it already has. So I'm praying that they can leg it out and take it to a Game 7, but my optimism isn't there. They need to prove it to us, and right now, I'm just expecting more depression. That's just, if there's one thing I can say, I unfortunately had to end my Ranger podcast this season because I just haven't had any time for it with my current schedule with the Mets and everything. And, you know, it might be the year where the Mets do the thing. I mean, not the Mets, the Rangers. It'd be fitting if they did it the year I stopped covering them. But at the same time, it's kind of a relief as well if things do come to an end tomorrow because it's a broken record. The Rangers are going from Henrik Lundqvist not backing him up when you need to back him up to Igor Shesterkin. There's literally no difference between the two. Your top players in Breadman and Mika not doing more than you need from them. It's beyond frustrating. And that's why we're talking Mets baseball right now.
Yeah. The one thing that I've been seeing is there's like a comparison between this team and the trajectory of the 94 team. But the one thing that I don't see with this team is I feel like they don't have that Messier type leader player. Like I mean, I would think maybe Kreider could be that player.
It's almost like Jacob Trouba isn't necessarily the most valid captain. Color me surprised.
Yeah, that's I mean, it seems like throughout this playoff run, from in my perspective, Trocheck has been that guy who has seemed, at least on the ice, to be that captain type player that the Rangers have needed. But I don't know. It's been tough as a Rangers fan.
It has
to say the least.
It has been tough as a Rangers fan. But hey, Mets won back-to-back games. That's all we care about right now. Keep riding high. Tomorrow we'll go through the emotions as Ranger fans, win, lose, or draw, whatever may happen. But Brandon, I thank you so much for calling in. Great questions, and let's go Rangers, baby. Let's take it to Game 7. Appreciate it. Shout out to Brandon. Love the call. Love the fandom there. All right, guys, we got a couple more to get into. We got Emerson. Emerson just called in recently, and the last time Emerson called in, he was saying how, you know what, Francisco Lindor, I got his signed jersey. I love the guy, but you know what? We have a major problem here. Emerson, it's been, 48 hours. Is the sentiment the same or different?
Wardy, all I gotta say is that I am absolutely speechless, and I think this man heard my prayers, and I'm this close from going online and trying to. When Scott said, like, oh, Lindor's like one of the captains, honestly, I geeked out. I'm about to go online and get like the letter C and stitch it on the jersey. I'm gonna have.
There you go. I love that. I would love it too. Like, I know that Christian Scott labeled Lindor as captain, but he said, you know, how he's just one of multiple captains for the team, because that's true.
Right.
It's him, Alonso, and Nimmo. That's just a three-headed monster right there. But yeah, I would say I would like at some point if the Mets did kind of had a captain, and if they name it Lindor or Nimmo or whoever, it would be pretty sick if they did go back to the old days, like with Keith and rocking a C on a jersey, just for the satisfaction from a fan perspective. I think that would be pretty sick. So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yes, but I mean, hey, we're rolling right now, and I'm really, really happy to see how the team is performing. I mean, I got really scared right there in the end that we were gonna lose this game. I really did think that they were gonna blow it, but they held on, and shout out to JD Martinez. Love that man to death. Hall of Famer right there. I know he hasn't really been like crazy productive for us, but lately he's been coming up in like really big spots. We probably don't win yesterday and today's game if it wasn't for him.
Yep.
So big shout out to him. Love that man to death. And yeah, I mean, we just gotta keep. We don't have to go on like a 20-game winning streak or nothing like that. They just gotta be consistent. You know, chip away. You know, get one win here, one win there. You know, you could still lose, but just not like, like this whole entire month. Like, try not to lose these games that you already have in your pocket already, Like, try to, like, seal it. I mean, I really do hope that the bullpen can really get their stuff together and then the offense can stay like they are, like today, for example, and we can keep rolling, But other than that, I'm really happy with the team. As for right now, hopefully tomorrow they can win. And, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully everything's keep going good.
Yep. No, we'll see indeed, my man. Well, again, thank you so much for calling in, Emerson. Happy to hear you more optimistic than the last time we spoke, and hope you have a great rest of your weekend, okay?
Yes, sir. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets, baby. Shout out Emerson. Appreciate the call as always. We got a couple more before we wrap this one up, boys. And now we're going to get on to Steven. Steven, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Wardy?
Steven, what do you got for me tonight? Let me hear it.
Thank God we got rid of it. Yay!
Guys, if you don't know, Steven called in yesterday. He's like, one thing, get rid of Omar Narvaez. Oh, we're best friends. I couldn't agree more. Omar Narvaez is no longer a Met. We're feeling electric about it. I know the bar's low that we're getting hyped up about a backup catcher being cut, but hey, that's what happens when you've had, again, a non-existent bat and a limited sample size, the way that Omar Narvaez certainly was. So, Steven, Narvaez is no more. So my question to you is, what is going on with your thoughts on the Mets right now?
Well, we're 2 for 2. Thanks to Lindor's pep talk. Let's see if they can keep it up. And number 2, now we got to get rid of McNeil.
There we go. Okay, you know what? Steven says got to get rid of McNeil. Mind you, the Mets started Jose Iglesias today when they didn't need to. Their first opportunity to bench Jeff McNeil, they did that. So just food for thought. However you want to take that is completely fine. But Steven, you got any specific questions for me, my man?
Not really.
No, you're just like happy with the Mets wins. Now Jeff McNeil, get out of here, right?
Most likely. I'm also wearing my other jerseys, you could tell.
I love that. Again, he was... Guys, I don't know what company made these, but they're sick. They're baseball-themed jerseys that say swag on them, and it's pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. Like, seriously, these things are absolutely killer. He's rocking one tonight, but he's rocking, like, the black Mets jersey version of it. Yesterday, it was
the old black one.
Yeah, he was rocking yesterday, like, a normal blue an orange one today. It's black, but it says swag, and 3 of the letters are orange, and one of them is like a navy blue, or, you know, could be a black. I can't tell too well from here, but navy blue. There you go. Love it. Love it, Steven. Well, you're just an electric factory every time you call in, my friend. So thank you so much for that. And any final remarks before I let you out of here?
Let's go, Mets.
Let's go, Mets. Shout out to you, Steven. Thank you so much for the call. Shout out, as always, to Steven. We're going to get on to Alan. That's going to wrap up the show, everybody. Thank you all so much to everyone that's taking the time to call in. Greatly appreciate that. If we missed any of your calls tonight as well, guys, don't worry. We will be taking plenty more live callers here in the future on post-game coverage. Again, I told you guys all week long that I do my post-games. I'm going to either take live callers or have a special guest. We had Giraffe Neck Mark as this week's special guest, and all the other shows since then have been, in fact, live callers. I did try to get my man James Schiano, Mark's co-host of the Mets podcast, on today. Unfortunately, he was busy with works, but we're going to try to get him on probably after the London trip, because I know him and Mark are going to London next week for the Mets-Phillies matchup, which is going to be very exciting to watch, and I cannot wait to see how that one's going to be. But we got my man Alan here. Alan, again, we're talking the internal optimist with Alan. Alan is holding a mini trash can right now. So can you please enlighten me as to why you're doing this?
The thing is, this is a good luck charm. I call this the reverse trash can gate. This is because it's a coin bank, and I've been doing this. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets.
I gotcha. You've been doing a little Let's Go Mets rally, almost like as if you're like Cowbell Man at City Field, where you hear Let's Go Mets. Let's go Mets. He's doing it at home, folks. That's a dedicated fan right there.
This is a joke of the trash throws. And you know who is trash? Frank the Tank. I am the bazooka or rocket launcher against him. And I hope
Frank is just catching strays tonight. This is hilarious. Let it rip.
This is going to go well, and he's nothing but trash. Basura.
Okay.
And he's like the Slimer in this Jinx Buster trap right here. The trash can, the anti-trash can gate coin bank.
These calls have been amazing. Alan, thank you. Everything you just said made my night. I really appreciate it, my man. Okay,
we go for 3 tomorrow. And I was right. The Narvaez contract was eaten. Now McNeil has to be eaten. And then we put Acuna, and let's rock the rest of the season. Have a good night.
Let's rock it. I love it, Alan. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Alan waited a while to let that off, and I love it. He literally sat there the whole time beating a trash can, like a small-sized trash can, probably about the size of a water bottle in regards to height at least. Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much. That was hilarious. You guys are so much fun. I'm having so much fun doing these live caller segments. I really am. That's why I don't mind these these shows dragging too, because I know there's a select few out there that even care about Mets post-game coverage, 9 games below 500 at the moment. So once you guys care a little bit more and yap at me about the length of the shows, I'll change things up. Until then, we're going to take a lot more live callers because this has been fun. Thank you guys all so much for watching. That is going to do it for tonight's post-game segment. I will see you guys back live, if not tomorrow night, then certainly with maybe a quick recap video off my phone or something along those lines. Be on the lookout for coverage tomorrow. Just don't know when and exactly the type of form it's going to be. Sunday, of course, we got the series finale game as well. So I hope you all, again, have a fantastic rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. Appreciate all the endless support, guys. Smash the like and subscribe button on your way out. We'll talk to you guys again real soon. Have a great night, folks. And as always, no matter